Hello, hello. Welcome back to another legacy project. Now we're going to jump right into it and start producing the next components for the floating wall clock project. In the last video, we did the vertical arms, and in this video, we're going to produce all the components for the clock face. And so that's 2 ring components as well as the inner circle for the clock face. So come with me and let's head on over to the wood shop and walk through the process on producing those 3 components on the Maverick 4x4 CNC system. If this is your first legacy CNC video, welcome. Throughout the project demonstrations, we like to break down some of the decisions that we make and why. That way you can learn from our failures and hopefully pick up some tips and tricks that you can use on your CNC. So we're going to kick things off by talking about mounting the part to your machine. Now, the most common workstation in all CNC systems is the flat horizontal work area. And here we're mounting our blank to this surface using Legacy's Low Pro clamps. These are side clamps that, when combined with T-slot tables, make it really fast and easy to get parts on and off of the system. The T-slots that run in both directions also ensure that the blank is completely square to the machine. Now we're going to be producing 3 parts out of this single blank, and the easiest way to cut out parts is by oversizing the blank so that you have plenty of clearance for your tool to run around the perimeter of the part without running into your fixtures. That, and when we're cutting out the part later on, we don't have any exposed edges that we have to worry about tearing out. The parts come off the machine much cleaner and with reduced tear out when we use this technique. To produce this part, we're going to be using 2 cutters, a 30-degree micro engraving tool and a 1/4 inch down spiral. This 30-degree engraving tool is being used to V-carve the number characters along the rings of the clock face. Once the parts are done, we'll actually fill those engravings with epoxy. We'll see that later on in the video. Now, to ensure that the epoxy has enough surface to adhere to, what we're shooting for is to maximize the depth of our V-carve. The simplest way to do this is by using a smaller degree angle on our tool. So for example here, this is a 30-degree V-cutter. This cuts a lot deeper in the same gap of the V-carve than a 60 or 90-degree V-cutter. Small detailed engravings like this, along face grain like we're doing now, usually has a higher risk of tear out. That's because the tip of any cutter actually doesn't cut while rotating, it drags. To minimize the load on the material and the cutter, we slow down our cutting speed. Typically, I shoot for less than 60 inches per minute when I'm cutting really small V-carve details like this. You can find this 30-degree V-cutter at precisebits.com. Now for the second tool, which is a 1/4 inch down spiral. This is used to bore a hole and to pocket out a recess for all the clock hardware in the center round section of the clock face. You may notice that as it's performing the pocket clearance, it's cutting in a climb mill direction to help minimize tear out. Afterwards, it proceeds to cut out the rest of the parts. And you'll notice during the cutout process, the cutter is actually traveling in a conventional or undercut direction. So let's break down the reasons why we would choose undercutting versus climb milling and why. A climb mill cut helps reduce tear out along exposed edges, but generates more heat that dulls the tool faster. Whereas conventional or undercutting has a higher chance of tearing out exposed edges, but generates less heat for longer tool life. A general rule that I follow is I use conventional cut as my default direction unless I have exposed edges. Then I switch it to a climb mill cut direction. So if we apply that logic to the cutout procedure here, during the cutout sequence, because we're cutting it out of the middle of an oversized blank, we don't have any exposed edges. Therefore, we can conventional cut, which reduces our heat and makes our tool last longer and still have a clean cut edge. One final note on the cutout is we didn't use any tabs for these parts. The material is thick enough and the cutter is small enough to make it so the sawdust is compacting within those grooves so that the parts don't move during the cutout sequence. Another thing that helps with this is the down spiral direction of the tool isn't trying to pull the cutter upwards, but is actually pushing the material down. With the parts cut out, we still need to apply 2 additional steps to these components. The first is pouring epoxy into those V-carved characters. John shows a great tip here. He creates a boundary using Scotch tape around the perimeter of these small parts. This could be done with caulking or anything. You're just creating walls that the epoxy can't penetrate or go through. Once blocked off, the epoxy can now be poured into those fine engravings, and it doesn't take a lot to fill those voids. To help prevent air from being trapped within the epoxy itself, he uses a heat gun to release any trapped air. Now, I don't have shots of the second step that needs to happen for these parts. We need to add 1/4-inch radiuses to the top edges of all 3 clock face components. This is done either using a flush trim router or, in this case, a router table. Now, I would have not have guessed this, but that is the same species of wood for all of the components. That's the difference between the heart and the sapwood of canary hardwood. This is really gonna pop once we apply some finish. Well, those turned out great. It's gonna be exciting to see this project all come together, and that's gonna be the next video, is the project assembly, so keep an eye out for that. Now, if you have any ideas or suggestions on how you would approach these cutting strategies or a different way of producing these parts on your CNC system, please share those thoughts and ideas right down below. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Now, if you want to learn more about a legacy CNC system and what it can do for your woodworking applications and business opportunities, I recommend you visit our website at legacywoodworking.com. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in that next video.